Well, hello, everyone. This is your girl, Tracie L James, and I'm back. That's right. I am back yet again with another amazing woman entrepreneur. And let me tell you, I've been waiting for this conversation since last year. Okay. I have been wanting to sit down with this amazing lady since last year. And I promise you, by the end of this interview, you will understand why I wanted to sit down with her. I had the opportunity of meeting her at the Houston Area Urban League. And you've heard me talk about the Houston Area Urban League before because it has just been a huge benefit for me. And it's connected me with some truly, truly talented business people here in the Houston area. And so the person we're going to be sitting down with today is Moncy Hawkins. And she is a national certified financial education instructor, board certified credit consultant, and speaker. And she is truly a respected leader in credit restoration and financial education. And she is the founder of Big Restoration and MHawkins Consultancy. So, hey, let's get to it. Let's welcome the one and only Moncy Hawkins.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me today.
I am so excited that we got an opportunity to finally sit down and talk. You know, being over at the Urban League, you end up connecting with startups and established business owners here in the area. And it's always a pleasure when I'm able to connect with an amazing woman. And you truly, your light shines. And so I'm glad to have this opportunity to speak with you. So the way I start all of my interviews is, who are you and why do you do what you do?
Well, that is a great question. I'm a person that pretty much, marches to the beat of my own drum. I keep myself surrounded by wise, counsel. So sometimes if I may go too far, I'm always going to have someone to keep me, on the right path so that I can fulfill the purpose and the calling that has been designed for my life. And pretty much it's just that simple. It's a calling. And this is why I do what I do, because I understand the importance of credit education, financial education, and just being able to have someone that can help you achieve a better life.
Absolutely. And I know personally, being at this point where I am literally knocking on 50 and knowing that for most of my life, I had no idea really how to manage money, still learning about credit and financing and how to manage all those different aspects. But truthfully, you are thrown into it, in college. All of a sudden now you're able to sign contracts and do all of these things. And I know for me personally, I came out of college. I had no student loan debt because I had scholarship, but I had credit card debt because back then, and I told y'all I'm 50, right? Back then, credit card companies were actually allowed to come on the college campuses and they would give you t-shirts, caps, all kinds of little freebie stuff that you could have bought for $20.
Yeah.
All for filling out a credit application. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, going through that constant cycle of in debt, out of debt, in debt, out of debt, mm-hmm. it's detrimental to me. So what led you into credit restoration?
It's a lot of components, and you said a little bit away from 50, and I'm not too far behind you. I think you may have a couple of years on me. And so, with life comes experiences. My mom passed when I was in 1995, I was 18 years old, and I had to find a place to live. And unfortunately, when I went to find a place to live, I was told that I had bad credit. And so back then there was no, we didn't have the internet. And so I literally had to go to the library and figure out, what is credit? What is finances? all of this stuff. I mean, I didn't grow up with financial literacy, so this was really foreign to me. Fast forward, I was able to do that and just be able to get my first apartment within the first 3 months of figuring out how to fix my credit. And then, it was just on from there, going into getting my first home, getting investment properties, going to work, and then life happening again, and losing jobs, sicknesses, all of that. It puts you right back in that place. And so for me, I was fortunate enough to really equip myself to be able to pull myself out of this place, which can sometimes be a dark place if you don't have the right tools to handle it. And as I began to speak to individuals, I just noticed that, hey, there are a lot of people. I'm not the only one. There are a lot of people that has this same issue or that needs to overcome this. And so I just decided to jump back in it and try to help as many people that I could help. But the key to that was helping those that really wanted the help, because a lot of people can say a lot of things with their mouth, but their actions and their determination is going to determine how far they can go and whether or not they can reach those credit goals.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's with even my consulting clients, my coaching clients. I find that I've had to fire some clients. I mean, and I'm very vocal about the fact that as a business owner, you have to be willing to do that, because keeping a client that's not willing to implement the strategies you're sharing with them and not willing to put in the work reflects badly on you, because they'll be out there calling you their coach,
right,
their advisor, and people are seeing the fruits of their labor and going, if you're advising them, oh no, I'm not gonna mess with you. And that's when I figured out, all money ain't good money.
Right. Absolutely. I'm the same. It's the same way with me, and I think people have come to know my personality. I mean, as far as for the decorum of my company, I too will cancel individuals. It's so important to me because I believe that there are so many people that need the assistance. And I don't want, individuals who are not serious to cloud the help that they can get. And so consultations on the front end. Before you can even sign up with my company, we have to do a consultation on the front end, because it's that important to me to make sure that you're going to have a successful journey, that we're going to be a good fit. And two, because I honestly know that without a shadow of a doubt, that individuals that are to come through my company, they have a much bigger purpose than me. I'm just going to be one little small vessel along the way into them really going where they are supposed to go in this life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I'm of the belief that everything that the world needs is here.
Right.
The issue is that people are not functioning in their purpose.
Right.
And that's why we don't have the solutions to the problems that plague us today. And being able to position yourself to do what you're called to do is so important and has that ripple effect in the world. And I know for me, my personal finances, and then even more so as a business owner, credit is super important. So kind of tell me about why you feel entrepreneurs truly need to understand credit.
Well, it's so important because as an entrepreneur, that's going to be your means to provide not only for yourself, but if you have a family and just, your contributions to society, you can get a lot further when your credit is together. It actually will allow you to double your borrowing power. It allows you to hire people. It allows you to scale. It just puts you in a much better place than if you were doing it with either bad credit or just, your own personal credit. So just being able to have access to all streams of credit, business credit, personal credit, it's just a huge plus, and it takes so much of a burden off of you. Just for instance, and I'll just use myself as an example. I have enough stories to tell just with my own personal experience. Before I started Fig Restoration, I was in corporate for 20 years, accounting and finance. I resigned 2 years before I started Fig Restoration. And when I resigned, I was in a really good place financially. That's the whole reason I could resign, right? And so 3 months into starting Fig Restoration, 2017, I will never forget, Hurricane Harvey hit. And then after Hurricane Harvey hit, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. And at the time, my husband was now the main breadwinner. So when medical bills came in, he couldn't work. He's an entrepreneur. I had to start living off credit cards. We had to start depleting savings. I mean, it was just so much that was just going on. And had it not been for my credit and being able to establish the limits on my credit cards that I had, and also being able to get certain loans because of my credit, I would have it would have just been a bad situation all the way around. So just being able to prepare yourself is so important when it comes to credit, and especially if you are an entrepreneur, because what do you have left to fall back on when hardships happen if your credit is not where it needs to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I hit that same deal because I moved to Houston in 2017. And things were cranking the beginning of 2017. I had money saved, things were moving, and then Harvey hit. And I had booked, I don't even know how many events for the balance of the year. These were going to be my money makers for the third, fourth quarter, you know, and after Harvey, events got canceled in Houston. Things got postponed and never happened. And I found myself going into the new year, into 2018, literally digging into my savings and having to try to leverage my credit. And by the end of 2018, my credit had taken a huge hit as a result of everything that had happened. And at that time, even though this was my second venture into business, I still didn't fully understand the difference in business credit and personal credit. And what I didn't realize was that I went and extended personal credit for things that really should have been business credit. And I had no idea, but I found myself in that hole. And then I had to figure out, how do I get out of this? So if you were to give an entrepreneur and someone who says, I want to be an entrepreneur, I'm ready to leave my 9 to 5 and start this job, start my company, what would be the top advice you would provide them to make sure that they've got the right footing?
And you said before they leave?
Before they leave. We're going to talk about before they leave, and then we're going to talk about you out here and you drowning. We're going to address both.
Okay. Now, I would say, make sure you save your money. That's going to be the first thing. Make sure you have a savings account. Make sure that you position your finances in a way to where you have discretionary income. And also get your credit together before, because when you have a stable income coming in every month, it's easier to curb your spending. I love budgets. I mean, people don't like the word budget, but I love budgets. Budgets saved my life, saved my family, saved us from a really hard time. Save your money. Make sure you're spending wisely. Have some residual income set aside, and just prepare yourself, because you want to go into business in the best financial state possible, because entrepreneurship is not easy. Entrepreneurship is not easy, and you're going to need some assistance, when you're starting out. So definitely budget, make sure your credit is good, pay all of your credit card balances down. That's going to be really important too. Some people bootstrap their company. I bootstrapped my company. I didn't take out loans to build my company. If you do that, I would say, start your company while you're still working. And if some of those things that you need, if you're bootstrapping, pay that stuff down before you jump into it full-fledged, because you don't want that to come back and bite you, because you never know when you have emergencies or things of that nature.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, I know that I wouldn't have survived as long as I did had I not had that money saved. Right. If I hadn't had that money sitting to the side, because when the money stopped rolling, I had to have something to keep things going. So, and I've been that entrepreneur that's been drowning. Okay. I owned a dance studio when I was living in Mississippi. And it was mobile instruction. So I didn't have a physical location. So I was going around, but I had a vehicle that I had to maintain in order to do all of the instruction. And when the vehicle broke down, there was a problem. And not having enough money, enough cash saved to be able to replace it. And then my credit wasn't good. It was just a bad situation all the way around. So for that entrepreneur that's in that position of feeling like they're drowning in their financial situation, what are some things that they can do?
So the first thing is you definitely want to educate yourself. I know the feeling of drowning. I know the pit in your stomach. I know the stress, the anxiety, the worry, just the emotional battlefield that you're on. So what will really help you is educating yourself, even when you don't have the money or the finances, because let's just be honest. You can't dig yourself out of a situation, a financial situation, until you have the income coming in. You can't fix your credit until you have money to pay your bills. You just have to have money. And I don't like to sugarcoat anything because the truth is the truth. So I would say educate yourself first, because when you have that knowledge and you have that education, no matter what stage you are in, you're able to have the tools to pull you out of it or to help you prepare for when you do get that money coming in again. So that's the first thing. And I'll tell individuals all the time, there are so many free educational platforms that you can visit to learn, more about credit and finances. So that way you're not just in this stuck or this scary state of mind. At least you're preparing yourself for when that time comes. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, you know what? I will find many ways to have money coming in, have income coming in. I have garage sales. As a matter of fact, I made my children have a garage sale about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You want some extra money? Go have a garage sale. Pull the stuff out of the garage. What other talents do you have that you can use just on the side to bring in this extra income? Do not sit and wallow in the sadness or the grief or the despair that comes with it. And then lastly, surround yourself with individuals that can hold you accountable and that can help to keep you in good spirits and that can be that voice of reason. Because like I said, sometimes emotionally, when you're in that place, you need all the help that you can get to move forward.
Absolutely. I definitely co-sign on that because I have what I call my front row. Mm-hmm. This is my crew. Being a former dancer, I use theater references all the time. So my front row, they are the people who start the standing ovation. They are the ones who, if I fall on stage, they're going to run up, pick me up, dust me off, and tell me to keep on moving. Yeah. They're that person that if I need correction, they're going to do it backstage, but they're going to applaud me in public. They're going to correct me in private. Mm-hmm. So my front row definitely was there to help keep me uplifted. And one of the things that I was able to do was I just decided I got to go get a job. Mm-hmm. I went and I found, even though I didn't want to give up my full time, I didn't want to give up 40 hours, I went and found something part-time.
Yeah.
And just to create enough cash to be able to keep myself going so I could stop the drowning. And it was the amazing thing about doing that. And this was for me, being able to create that income actually primed my creativity. And it opened up some different ways that I could make money in my business. So I got the part-time job bringing some money in, and then the business started to bring money in from some different directions that I had never contemplated before. And then things started to turn around. I was able to fix it with the money because the money is what's necessary. That's the reality.
Yeah. It's definitely necessary. And that is so true what you say about, getting up, even if it's a part-time job. One of the things that I did is, I'm just blessed. I always say, I give, a lot of credit, most of the credit to God, because he's blessed me with a certain amount of talents. And so, in the course of my business, will be 5 years this year in July. Up until 2 years ago, I had to figure out different ways to supplement income as well, even while building, Fig. And I'm thankful for, like I said, the team, like you said, the team around you. I was doing graphics for my friends. I wouldn't, and I'm not the type that asks my friends for money. I'm not asking anybody for anything. I'm like, hey, what is it that you need? Or they know, and they know my personality. And because I'm able to share with them, certain things that's going on, they knew that, hey, Fig is not where it needs to be now. So they would even say, hey, can you make some graphics? How much would you charge? Or can you do this for me? How much would you charge? And that's the beauty of having that team and surrounding yourself with the right individuals, because you'll be surprised where you can get an extra stream of income from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I had a friend that literally, I have a degree in marketing. Okay. And it wasn't really my thing. I got the degree. I worked in it. I worked in sales and marketing most of my career. And so I have the skill set, but it ain't something I really just get excited about doing. So what he would do is, if he came across somebody that needed help with their marketing, hey, Tracie can help you. Wow. Yeah. And so that's what created another stream of income. I was like, okay, I'm a business consultant. I can add marketing services. Okay, cool. We can do it. But it was about doing what was necessary to keep things going, because I had to make a choice. I'm either going to build this business and do everything I can to build my business, or I'm going to let it go and I'm going to go back to work for somebody. And I'm going to be honest. The last time I tried to work for somebody full time, I don't like being told what to do.
Right.
And, when I see a process that does not make sense to me, that does not flow like I feel is best for the customer, or even best for the people providing the service, I have difficulty following it.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I have to make sure that I build this, because that's not where I function best.
Right. And you have to know your weakness. You have to know your strengths and your weaknesses. And so you identifying that, there's nothing wrong with that. You know who you are. And pride, that's something else to piggyback on there. As an entrepreneur, don't be too prideful to where you're afraid, or you don't want someone to think, oh, I'm a failure. Guess what? Entrepreneurship, there's a lot of failures. If you don't fail, you're not going to get to the next level. I've fallen so many times. Sometimes I didn't feel, I'm like, okay, I'm not getting back up, because I'm tired of falling. But with each fall, I learned something. And at each fall, it just pushed me a little bit further. And I surround myself with very smart people. I do. I am, the people that I surround myself with, they're people that they are full of integrity, and they are smart, because you need that. You need to have the wisdom around you, because the moment that you start thinking that you are the smartest and that you have all of the answers, you're going to fail. Especially as a first-time entrepreneur, I don't have all the answers. I want to have the least amount of falls as possible. So I'm the person that's sitting at the feet of the very smart individuals that's willing to, share some information with me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, man, I swear, when it comes down to me really looking at the people that I consider to be my mentors, my colleagues in this space of being an entrepreneur, it ranges. I got folks who have been on this journey around the same time I have. Some of them are serial entrepreneurs, and others have just literally, they figured it out, and they've built something really major. I want to learn from you, and so we get together and we share and we learn from each other. And one thing I have come to realize is that, and this is a conversation I was having with my son, was that because he's so afraid of making a bad decision, he won't make a decision. And this is a reality. If you don't choose, life still makes a choice for you. Absolutely. And so it's better to choose and figure out this don't work. Because the best things actually for me have come from when I figured out, oh, that's not me. You know, and so tell me this, what is one thing that you've learned from one of those failures? What is one thing that lesson you hold on to?
Well, one of those is, you know, everything isn't perfect. When you said that about your son, I'm typical, I want to say typical Virgo. Everything has to be perfect, like to the T. And the same way, there was, you know, things that I just wouldn't do because I'm like, if it's not perfect, I'm not co-signing, I'm not putting that out, I'm not doing anything. Well, guess what? Nothing in life is perfect. You know, we can probably get close to perfection, but it's in those quirky little things that we mess up on. It's in those, you know, those moments where it's not perfect that, number one, you learn even more. And number two, it just can create something even more beautiful. I have created some amazing programs outside of things that I wanted to be perfect, but it just was not perfect. And so that's something that I always keep with me. I'm not afraid to do something or try something just because all of the pieces aren't together. It just, because it's a hindering block. It will hinder us, it'll stunt us, and then it sets us up for the comparison trap. Because a lot of times, why do we want things perfect is because we're so busy comparing what somebody else happened. We don't know how that person came up with that such amazing, great idea that they have, you know, given to the world now. And so that's one of the things I always try to make sure I'm privy of, is not comparing myself, not trying to be perfect, but just really walking in a very transparent yet purposeful manner that will allow me to not only create, but help to the greatest capacity. And guess what? It's not perfection involved in that. Perfection is stuffy.
Oh, absolutely.
Wants to be around stuffy.
Oh, absolutely. Because one of the things I always tell people, I am a recovering perfectionist. Day by day, I recover from being a perfectionist because I will get stuck. I got, if you notice, I got all these books, and that's not all the books. There's books all over my house. So I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly acquiring knowledge. I literally, my dad calls me a knowledge pack rat. So I have it electronically, I have it physically, just info. Well, the problem with having that much information is you don't really know what you have, and you don't know how to access it when you need it. So you go look for some more. And I would get in this cycle of constantly trying to gather all the information I felt I needed before I could launch. And so now I'm learning to focus on, based on what information I have today, is this my best? Is this an excellence? And if I can say yes to that, then I release it. Good. And it's taken time for me to get comfortable with that, because like literally my coach had to push me out of the nest, because I literally spent maybe 6 weeks trying to decide on a book cover.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
And so I say all that to say that being an entrepreneur is going to have its ups and downs. It's not a straight line. And the first business venture might not be the one that clicks and takes off. You know, like I said, for me, this is my second business venture. And honestly, if I really think about it, it really was my third, because my first business was actually trying to be a diversity trainer. And that didn't last long because I got a job offer and I put it to the side. You know, so for you at this point, almost 5 years into your journey, what is the one thing you're most proud of?
So in regards to, you know, Fig Restoration, I'm so thankful for the fact that the community and the marketplace has really recognized that, you know, Fig is a reputable company. in the industry that I'm in, you know, credit restoration and all of that, you know, we get a bad name. And so when I started, I wanted to make sure that I separated myself from the rest by really, really showing that, no, we are here for you, making myself visible in the community, showing up, making relationships. And so I've been able to leverage that to now my company is a by referral only, because everyone in the industry, whether you're in real estate, whether you are in banking, they make their money from individuals with good credit, right? Whether you're trying to purchase a home, get a loan, and all of that. And so when that community or that marketplace can see, hey, we do have a reputable person, that just opens up the doors for them for more profit. If they say, hey, Moncy, take care of this person for me. And then for me, it weeds out on the front end those individuals who are not serious, because I know that when that individual come to me from one of my referral partners, that A, they are going to be serious. And number two, they really do have a more serious goal at the end of this. There is a reason, there is a why, there is a purpose that now they have come through this. So it's just a win-win. And that's a good way to knock out the fluff, because I don't like fluff. You know, I don't have, time is short, you know, time is short. And I believe that there are so many people that we have to help. And so I just don't want to waste time on the front end with foolishness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm completely with you on that, because, you know, one of the things in being an entrepreneur in this day and time, and I mean, because this is a huge shift, because like with my dance studio, it truly was, I did literal physical postcards to daycare centers and private schools. I literally would just walk up to a center, a school, and drop information off. That was how I prospected. I got, you know, referrals from friends and things like that. That was how I did business. There was, I mean, I think I've probably been in business 2 years before I ever had anything on Facebook. And so now with everybody being so focused on social media, how do you handle that with your business? Do you have a social media presence? How big of a social media presence do you feel you have to have at this time?
You know, I do have social media. And it's so funny because I am a very private person. So you're not going to see too much of personal anything of me on social media. Now, when it comes to Fig, you will see some, but I'm bad. I'm going to tell you, I'm bad at social media. I really am. I probably should hire a social media person, because I forget to post. And because my business is by referral, I can get away with it because, like I said, from my former clients or whoever is, you know, referring to me, I don't have to pay for that kind of more advertisement. You know, I may pay for websites and things like that, but I have been getting pushed by my coaches and my consultants, because they want me to do more. They want me to show up more. And they're like, you are, you're missing out on a lot of money. You're missing this because you will not. We want you to brand Moncy Hawkins, you know, and I'm like, I don't know if the world is really ready for Moncy Hawkins, because I can be a bit much at times. And so for me, it's still trying to find the line of how much do I give you all, and what do I keep for myself? And so, you know, who knows what's going to come out of that, but I'm still working on that.
Yeah, I absolutely understand completely. My issue is that I tend to overshare.
Oh, okay.
I tend to overshare, just like in the conversations one-on-one with people, and even in small groups, I tend to overshare. So when it comes down to social media, I'm an overthinker.
Okay.
I'm an overthinker. So I'll start to create a post, and then I'll think about it and go, should I? Shouldn't I? And then 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna go, if I'm questioning it, I don't need to post it, and I won't post it. And, you know, in doing that, I'm understanding that there are some things that, yes, I have the right to make the decision that this part of my life is off limits. That part of my life is off limits. I will share this, but the rest of that over there, that's for me. That's, you know, and figuring out what that line is for you. And that's the thing. It's about what's for you.
Right.
Some people are more transparent than I can even. I'm just like, did you really share that?
Yeah, you know.
But it's about comfort level. It truly is about your comfort level. But I don't ever want to be at a point where I'm so transparent that I don't feel like any part of my life is mine.
Right. And then I also believe that there are seasons as well. When you can share certain things. Like I'll just, be honest and transparent with you. There's a season that I'm coming out of. And so for the next chapter of my life, individuals that's connected to FIG or, social media or whatever, they'll begin to see some of that behind the scenes because the behind the scenes directly affected where I am now or where I'm going to be within in a couple months or whatever. So it's only fair that I do share that because it's definitely going to help. I've been going through this. Like I said, I'm a woman of faith, and I really have been. The older that I get, I'm really trying to make sure that I am really being obedient and not prideful, because pride can get in the way just because I want to be secretive, all of this kind of stuff, and it can get in the way from really helping people. And so God has really been dealing with me on losing that pride, and being able to share my story to truly help individuals. And then I know that my greater success will come once I do that, because there is, people said there's a glory, within your story, but for me, it's just that part of where I still just kind of want to hang on to that, so I'm working on that. I have a life coach that's really helping me to process that, and work through that. So we'll see, what happens.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm absolutely with you on that, because I actually have someone that I just recently started talking with about the next book and what it actually is going to be. And the desire for that to be a bit more personal than my prior two books have been makes me a little uncomfortable. There are elements of my story that I'm still not sure if I'm ready to share. And like you said, it's that thing of, is it me trying to hold on to it, or is God pushing me to do that because it's going to help somebody? So we'll see. And I'm looking forward to seeing, how all of these things are going to come together, and how we'll be able to impact others as a result of being obedient. I hear you.
Obedience is, that's the key. Obedience is better than sacrifice. And I tell you, there are so many things that can come out of that. And it's so funny that, we're talking, and just in the whole scope of entrepreneurship, you see, there are so many factors that come into it. We've talked about life coaches, we've talked about coaches, consultants, God, prayer. Like it's a big thing being, becoming a successful entrepreneur. It's just so many different levels and diverse things that come into play. And so if you're serious about this entrepreneur journey, then you better make sure that you're in for the count.
Absolutely. It is not for the faint of heart. It is, if you are that person that wants to make a whole bunch of excuses and blame everybody else for why things aren't working, then being an entrepreneur is not for you, because ultimately, when it comes right down to it, you got to be accountable for every action, every inaction, every word you speak, every word you don't speak. Every single thing comes back to you. It's your business. It's the vision you were given, and how you walk it out is yours.
Yeah. And
you got to be willing to do that. And I hate to wrap up, but we gotta wrap up. So before we go, Moncy, please share how everyone can get connected with you and find out more about FIG Restoration.
So FIG Restoration, it is a credit consultant and education firm. And so we specialize in credit education, credit restoration for first generation entrepreneurs and high salary professionals. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Moncy Hawkins, and you can find me on all social media platforms at FIG Restoration. The website is figrestoration.com. So that's just the best ways to connect with me.
All right. We'll have all of those links below this video. So thank you so much, Moncy. Is there anything else you want to share before we close today?
No, just thank you. I just want to thank you for, the invitation to come on. And I've watched you, same thing, like I said, we started out around the same time. And so it's just always an honor, a privilege to see other women just building and growing and helping to elevate other women. And, you having me on your show, that's a form of elevation. So thank you. I wish you all the best. Many blessings to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Moncy. Thank you again for being a part of this episode of Conversations with Tracie. So I want to thank the audience. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and be on the lookout. I'll be back again with yet another amazing woman entrepreneur. And as always, no matter what happens, just do it regardless. Zero excuses allowed. Take care. Love you much.